Now I will read to you a little excerpt from a book called The Divine Iliad by Walter Russell. Now, this is a book that I also have read the entire book, and I have a playlist of that entire book being read, and I will put that over in the description bar. So if you want to listen to the entire book, you can just click on it from there. And this is a very important law, one that everyone, everywhere, should be knowing and practicing, because this law is the one law that God has. And we're living in a day where a lot of people are trying to make laws to rule over other people. And I've heard a lot of people, because I'm New Age, they say of New Age people that we believe that we are God. Well, the way Walter Russell puts it is, "Be thou me, Lord, that I might not be myself alone." And really it is in the Bible, because Jesus prayed that we would be one with the Father as he was one with the Father. And he said that we would do greater things than he had done, because the Father was within us. And the reason that I want to get this point across is that I want people to realize it's not blasphemous to consider that you can be God. And no one better portrayed that than Jesus, who knew it fully. And so we should know that we, as well as Jesus, can have this same kind of relationship. There is actually a scripture that says, in the Bible, that says, "Let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus, who though he found himself in the form of a man, thought it not robbery to be equal with God." So it's not robbery for us to think this. And a lot of people these days are playing God, trying to tell other people, rule over other people. It's causing a lot of trouble in our politics. And I hear a lot of them giving answers, oh, we should do this or that, but they're not really giving the answers that we need to hear, like the answer about this one law that we are breaking so terribly. This law of balance, we are breaking it by the disparity between the rich and the poor, and by the mighty taking advantage of the weak. And this is important, that everyone should know this one law. I love the way Walter Russell talks about God. I believe in my heart that he talked to God, and these words are God's words. Some of them I will tell you when he's quoting God directly. And I will begin now. The law of balance. The law of balance is the law of love, upon which the universe is founded. This law is given to man for his coming renaissance of greater comprehension. It is, of all laws, the most inclusive and the most simple. It consists of but 3 words. These 3 words are the very foundation of all our material existence. All phenomena of matter are interchanged between humans, economically, socially, and spiritually. Now, I will read to you from the Divine Iliad, and these are direct words from God to Russell. Great art is simple. My universe is great art, for it is simple. Great art is balanced. My universe is consummate art, for it is balanced simplicity. My universe is one in which many things have majestic measure, and again another many have measure too fine for sensing. Yet I have not one law for majestic things, and another law for things which are beyond the sensing. I have but one law for all my opposed pairs of creating things, and that law needs but one word to spell it out. So hear me when I say that the one word of my one law is balance. And if man needs 2 words to aid him in his knowing of the workings of that law, these words are balanced interchange. If man still needs more words to aid his knowing of my one law, give to him another one, and let those 3 words be rhythmic, balanced interchange. And now this next part is Russell again paraphrasing what God is saying in this. Balance is the foundation of all human relations, of the universe itself. The stars of heaven move in obedience to it. They cannot do otherwise. Cosmic disaster of untold dimension would follow such disobedience. The starry universe is so absolute in its balance that the movement of a dewdrop on any one planet necessitates the readjustment of the orbits of all the stars of heaven to that microcosmic event. Because of that law, all happenings are universal. Any action anywhere is extended for repetition everywhere. All motion is as omnipresent as the light of God is omnipresent. All effect is universal. God is balance. From the stillness of his balance in the unconditioned one light, he extends his balance to the conditioned universe of motion as 2 opposite unbalanced conditions of 2 lights, which seek balance through each other. Oppositely conditioned pairs in nature seek balance through each other by repeatedly giving all that each has to give to the other in rhythmic sequences. In nature, this process continues perpetually, because in nature all givings of one are perpetually balanced by equal regivings of the other. Nature never takes that which is not given. This universe is founded upon love as manifested in the giving of one opposite to the other for regiving. The earth gives its forests to the heavens, and the heavens give them back again to earth for equal regiving. Every dewdrop given by the heavens is equally regiven to the heavens by the earth. Equal interchange between opposite conditions manifests the love principle of balance, upon which God's universal body is founded. Whatever is true of God's universal body is true of man's body. It is the equality of balance between the giving and regiving of nature which makes its transactions perpetual. The lack of the love principle of rhythmic, balanced interchange in the transactions of men is the reason for the ills of the body and for the disasters which make continuance of relations between men impossible. The seller of goods is also a buyer. If the seller gives less to his customers than the value of what he charges, he deprives his customer of the ability to re-give that which the seller needs to again become a seller. By sacrificing the goodwill, which is the foundation of continuance in any business, the love principle has been subtracted from the transaction in the measure of inequality of interchange. Neither man nor nation can continue an interchange of relations upon a harmonious basis of multiplying power when the universal love principle is violated. The law of balance is absolute. He who breaks that law will be equally broken by it. If each of the 2 conditions which forms the basis for every transaction between pairs of opposites in nature can be kept in balance with the other, the resultant effect is good. When they are out of balance with each other, the resultant effect is bad. Good and bad, sin and evil, measure the degree in which all pairs of oppositely conditioned effects of motion are either in balance with each other or out of it. In all our human relations, we ourselves make our own good and bad, our evils and sins. by our desires and decisions to act either in or out of balance with universal law. There is no sin or evil in nature, for nature observes the law of balance. Every unbalanced effect in nature is balanced by its opposite unbalanced effect. The play of creation consists of dividing all idea into two opposite parts. What each half does in relation to the other half constitutes the play. Such divisions into halves are male and female, buyer and seller, positive and negative, compression and expansion, and countless other divisions of ideas into unbalanced pairs for the purpose of expressing those ideas. Whatever these opposed pairs do in any transaction results in an effect. All human relations are thus divided, and transactions between humans result in either good or bad effects, which we call happiness or misery, in accordance with whether the transaction is balanced or unbalanced. Man can make whichever he chooses. He can make happiness, success, wealth, friendships, and health only by obeying the law. He can never find them by disobeying the law. For eons, mankind has been breaking the law in an endeavor to find happiness, wealth, and power. Civilization has been built by the unbalanced power of might over right. Nations have enriched themselves by impoverishing other nations, expecting to find happiness by giving misery, expecting to attain power by depriving others of power. Without any exception, those who have broken the law have been equally broken by the law. This war-broken world of today is the result of yesterday's breaking of the law. Good, bad, evil, success, or failure are not qualities of nature. They are the product of man's actions resulting from his thinking, just as the product of his factories is the result of his thinking. Man can manufacture a pair of shoes which cause him physical agony. If they do not fit his feet, they are out of balance with their purpose. He can also manufacture physical and mental agony by unbalanced actions and decisions regarding his domestic, business, or social relations. All of man's troubles and blessings are manufactured by man. Man manufactured the misery and agony which drenched the world with the blood of all nations by manufacturing the conditions which made that misery inevitable. In nature, all effects of motion repeat their kind as though mirrored from cause to effect. Misery inflicted by greed and selfishness is radared back to the giver as misery. Likewise, the giver of love begets love by the same law. The law of love is absolute in nature. It has no relation to morality, religion, sin, good, or evil. It is the cause of all effect. The effect has no reality. Cause alone is. One cannot sin against God. God's universe of love is balanced. Man cannot upset God's balance. He can but upset his own. He can create agony for himself or his fellow man by sinning against himself or his fellow man. But he cannot create agony for the God of love. God's mind is eternally ecstatic. His light is forever in equilibrium, at rest. God's creation is perfect. To the God mind, all stages of the workings of creation are always perfect, no matter how unbalanced by unrhythmic is the interchange between any of the opposites of creating things. That unbalance in them is balanced in God, just as the unbalance of the lever is balanced in its fulcrum. In this respect, I again quote from the Divine Iliad, all men will come to me in due time, but theirs is the agony of awaiting. That means the agony is man's alone, for man is manifesting God's idea of cause and effect in his creation by unbalanced actions as well as by balanced ones. For that reason, man's prayers to God should be to ask for knowledge and wisdom, to manifest God worthily in order that his thinking and his acting shall have the balance of the light in them. When we ask forgiveness for our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us, it should not be in the sense that we have trespassed against God or caused him grief or sorrow because of our acts, for that is impossible. It should be in the sense that we have trespassed against ourselves and our neighbors by breaking the law of rhythmic balanced interchange in our dealings with them. We thus hurt ourselves and every other man on earth by lowering the standard of all mankind. Conversely, every balanced act raises the standard of all mankind, but no unbalanced act can affect universal balance.